Hey everybody, so this happened. I was doing a Movember thing, but it just kind of stayed. You guys, if you're in the UK, know everything has got really expensive. So the energy crisis that we're going through at the moment is crazy, absolutely crazy. We were paying 15p per kilowatt on electric. We're now paying 34p per kilowatt on electric. So everybody's panicking, and it's really cold. We're actually sat at -3 outside, and with the electric being crazy, we don't have any gas in this house. We had the gas removed because I wanted to use the solar panels that we have on the roof. The downside of that is it's not very sunny outside. It's not too bad today, but it's not very sunny generally outside at the moment because it's raining or it's horrible and foggy. So the solar's not very good. That means we have to use our air source. I've got an air source heat pump, and they're rubbish. Some people love them, some people hate them. I take it it's by the way it was put in and installed. Ours was installed and running all the time with the cost of the energy at the moment, the electric, whereas that thing's running at like 5 kilowatts all the time. We can't afford it. We were looking at our usage, which I'll put a couple of pictures up on screen now. Our usage when the sun is out is brilliant. We're always paying too much, so we've always got credit coming in on the usage. But at the moment, we've been using, because the air source has been running non-stop, because it's so cold outside, it actually doesn't work properly. So we're sat at 14 degrees inside the house at the moment. We actually have the log burner going because we need heat. But when we wake up in the morning, it's like 12 degrees Celsius in the house, and it's not very good. So the air source has now been turned off because it's not doing a great job, and it was costing us 50 kilowatts a day, and we were looking at £600 a month bill for our electric, whereas obviously a couple of years ago or last year we were actually only looking at about £300 a month, which is still a lot of money, but it's doable. So that in mind, I've come up with a plan. I've been watching a lot of the YouTube videos, a lot of things with the rocket stove burners, but not one quite like this, I think. So I've come up with one. Show you a little rough design of one now on the paper, and then I'll show you my actual design that I've planned to do, and let me know what you think. I have about 300 kilograms of wood in the way of my lathe at the moment that is in the house, so that it's drying instead of being outside, so that we can then chuck it straight on the log burner and actually use it. And I can't get it out of the way because I have multiple metal projects on the go in the workshop that I actually need to be doing. But this problem with the heating, we need to be warm. I can't even, obviously with being paralysed and that, my body doesn't work properly if I'm freezing cold. I can't sleep. These stop working if they get too cold, and then you can't push a wheelchair. So yes, the heating is taking priority over everything at the moment, which I'm sure you guys will appreciate that. And I don't earn enough money to run £600 a month on my energy bills. Certainly, as a family, we still don't earn enough money. So here's my drawings, what I'm planning on doing, and I'll show you that now. The idea is that it will be able to supply us the underfloor heating, hot water into our cylinder whilst we have no sun. And when there is sun, then the solar that we have, solar power, that will heat our cylinder for us. So yeah, it's exactly the same. The only differences is here I've come up with an idea. There I've got some ceramic insulation that's going to go on the inside of the pipe, because this is like 6-inch pipe, so it's massive. But that insulation is 10mm thick, and it's ceramic insulation, so it's good enough for 1500, 1800 degrees sort of temperatures, and that will protect the steel, because we don't want to just melt the steel when we get to those crazy hot temperatures around here for the gasification, and the gas is burning off. We don't want the steel to melt, so that'll cover us there. There'll be an ash pot that I'm going to build underneath here. 2 grates, so 1 grate slides side to side like a shaker grate, and then the ash drops down into the box, and then the box will be able to slide off, and we'll just bin the ashes when they're cold. Feeding tube at the top here with a lid, so we can close that off. There'll be some venting tubes coming across here into the front, but I haven't set them up yet, so I'm not quite sure how they're going to fit. And then a glass door on the front, which I have already bought the glass. Yeah, we should be pretty good, hopefully. So I'll take you to what I'm going to attack and what I'm going to build. Okay, so this beast, excuse the state of my workshop, it's horrendous in here. This beast is going to be the center of the log burner, of the rocket stove. So unfortunately it needs cutting there in half because it's not long enough. It needs to be taller, believe it or not. And then I need to cut the top off because that's going to have a big thick plate on it, and the bottom off because that's going to go into the big cylinder, which is out there. And yes, that monster is a 500 litre cylinder. That cylinder is going to be the outer shell, but that actually is going to get cut as well because I don't want that rim around it in the middle there, and it also is too tall, so that's going to get shortened, and with a flat lid on top and with a flat base on the bottom, and that base is going to get cut off. Or I might even keep the base because I kind of like it. I think it's quite cool. Okay, so there you go, that's where I've got to cut it. I'm going to cut it along there, and then I'm going to cut out the top and the bottom as well. But I'm cutting it there so that I've got an overlap of about 50 mil to weld when I get the extension, because I need it longer. So there's about 400 mil extension going on this tank.
I've got excuse the sound, I've got my mask on. Obviously it's not nice in here, it's very dusty. You can see this part here is the base part of the chimney. That's got 45 on it, so they go 90 degrees up. That's got quite a lot of work to do to it yet. I've got to cut out a piece at the front here, and I've also got to add the feeding tube, which will be this one. This is all made out of 6-inch steel by 5mm wall, so 6 inch by 6 inch.
Right, so the log burner so far, thermal mass stove, whatever you want to call it, confusion of lots of different things that it is. This is how far we've got at the moment. I would want to show you a few more steps along the way, but I just need to get bits done on it because it's getting cold again outside, so I'd like to get the thing built. But we've got, this is a 50mm by 30mm box section by 4mm wall, and these are the same. It's the same all the way around. I've just built a frame around the face of the 6-inch box section, 6-inch by 5. These are the rear vents. So these rear vents here are going to have a slide on them to allow the air to get into the back. We'll have two different stages, so you can allow, these are 40mm holes, so you can allow 40mm worth of air getting through to the back vents, or you can allow 80mm of air getting back to the back vents. The back vents come all the way along, so yeah, they're closed off at the back, and as you can see, 5 12mm holes drilled through the back there. I know that those holes there are nowhere near equivalent to those holes there, but it will mean, sorry about doing this all one-handed, it will mean that these, when these are drawing, they've got plenty to pull. Yeah, I want to get all this lot on first before I attach that big, not that one, that big git over there. Because that's the chimney part of the blast chamber. This is the blast chamber here. If I spin it around again, it's rather heavy as well. So from the face of it, and then the door is going to hinge from this side. So hinge across here. It will have a glass screen on the front, so that we can at least see into what we're burning a little bit. That's the ash collection, ash tray, and that is the feeding tube. Obviously exactly the same air vent tubes on the other side going to the back. Visual weld again. So let me just put the top tube on for you, the feeding tube, so you can see how that'll look. The feeding tube is going to be welded in there, obviously solid welded all the way around, and then that's in from the top straight into the grill, look. Which I have just put on there. If I can spin this, it starts getting a lot heavier when you start putting the feeding tube and everything else in, and the grill in. So feeding tube there, it's 6-inch by 6-inch by 5mm wall, Might just be 6mm wall, that stuff. I think it's 5mm. And then I got to make mine to just laser cut out the grill for me. We have 2 of those grills, there's another one over there. And they're going to shake against each other to get the ash through. But I just had to obviously grind the edges down to get it to fit nice and snug in there. And that will sit over the top of that hole. All the way around this chamber through the back there, there's going to be ceramic insulation board, because this is going to get really, really hot. The back end, so where those ports are at the back down there of the blast chamber, is going to be probably pushing the 800 sort of degrees area. So yeah, that needs insulating to stop the steel from burning out. I know obviously the steel didn't melt till 1200 degrees, but again, I don't want to be pushing the steel and weakening it all the time. So yeah, that grate will just slide straight out, and that will allow you to get to the second grate and obviously scrape out the burn chamber all into the bin. These one of the hinges, or the hinge that will be on the back, on the side, sorry, and that will sit on that side there for the door. Obviously it needs cutting down, but that's going to sit there for the door and open nicely. Then the slide part, if it didn't make much sense because I was just talking about it and not explaining it, the slide part here, that is going to sit, that's going to sit there. Not that I can hold it at the same time as do this. So that's going to sit on the top of there, welded in. And as that sits there, it's not even going to stay, is it? 1 second. So as that top one sits there, this slide plate is going to have a stop about there, so that it stops before getting to the end of the tube. And then this will slide back across that and open up like so. Very difficult for me to try and explain with one hand. Obviously, as most of you guys know on the channel, I am sat in the wheelchair, I am paralysed, I have no abs, so trying to do everything with one hand is rather difficult. Yeah, that's also why this thing takes so long for me to make, because I'm trying to, handle all this lot with one hand. I'll show you guys a little bit more when I get a little bit further on. Obviously, this is the most complicated part of it. Lots of little bits to work out. Once that's done, actually, we'll be flying along and we'll make some bigger progress. So I'll bring you back in a bit. So, sorry guys, the one bit I forgot to mention to you is, as well as these side vents here, this side ports, the 40mm ones, there's also some 50mm, the 50mm by 30mm box section up here. That is ported inside. I don't know whether, probably can't see the port down there. Inside, no, it's not going to focus. So yeah, they're ported, so both sides are going to have a vent door on them. It's going to be a little bit of a pain because it's going to be open that side to vent it, or open this side, or both. But it does give you more versatility, I suppose, with the burner itself. One port up here to open, close, whichever way I decide to make that, and another one there to open, close, whichever way I decide to make it, which I've not quite decided yet. I've got 2 options, but I can't decide on one, so yeah. Then also the port obviously is, it's not going to show you, is it? So if I turn the whole thing on its side, you'll probably be able to see it then. There you go. So the port there at the top, which you can now see, just drilled it out and cut it, obviously. That was drilled out with a 22mm drill bit, and then both ends, and then obviously joined up in the middle. So it's 22mm by maybe 130mm long. That needs to be deflected forwards to blow, so that the air gets sucked in through the side there and then gets blown or drawn out towards the glass, across the glass and down towards the fire. That keeps the glass clean from getting blackened, and this is the plate that I have. We'll be going in around about there. So this is the front of the burner. You can see there is the baffle plate to send the air induction down the face of the glass, because there'll be a glass door here, door with a glass window in it. So the air will come in through both the air vents there. So these air vents close down like that, and then you can open one up, or you can open them both up if you want both 40mm duct, so 50mm duct, so you've got 50 by 30mm box section on top here. The air goes in the sides, in there, and then gets drawn down across this baffle plate here, which is solid welded, through this baffle plate, hits the glass, comes down, and then underneath the burn chamber. That's the option from this side. Obviously, the other option is to slightly leave the door open if you want to, which I don't really want to do because we've just got a new puppy, so that's not going to happen. And obviously the top burn feeding tube. So they both close down, and this feeding tube will be sat on here like so, which I've already shown you before. But when that sits on there, obviously that's going to have a big lid on it as well, and that can be slightly propped open. If I feel that we need more draft, then I'll put some more vents on the side of this. It won't be an issue, so I'm not worried too much. That can be done afterwards, it's dead easy to do. So just a quick look at the side. So far what I've done is, like I said, the vent doors, which open and close like that. So you can open them up and you can close them. Just on spring washers, M6 bolts and a washer. So if you press it, it stays in place. A little tiny handle on there just for novelty really, just something to just catch hold of. If you've got a hot glove on, you can just catch hold of it, flick it up, and job done. So, and then these ones here go to the rear ducts, which will go all the way back to the back of the burner itself. They open up and you've got two 40mm holes there, and they close up like that. They're not the best fit. I could have made them tighter, but like an idiot, I made their little sliding handle too wide, and I couldn't get it past the welds, so I had to bring them out of target. So yeah, but that will stop. That will definitely stop the airflow from going down there, if it's needed to be stopped, that is. And so the next job now, which is why I'm bringing you guys back, is to do the underside, which is the firebox with the ash box. I need that to slide in, slide out from underneath it, which is going to be quite a big job to do to make it. And if I put the other part of the blast chamber on, burn chamber, it's going to make it too tall. I'm not going to be able to turn it around. It's also going to be too heavy for me to move around easily to get welding and all that sort of rubbish. And then next, after that is obviously I've got to make the door. I've got the hinge already that's going to sit here, and the door will sit across, close that. So I've got to make the door yet, and weld on the feed tube on top. Then I can move to doing the blast chamber at the back, and actually start getting the paint off of the cylinders and connecting it all together. So this is the most difficult, fiddly little bits of the job, and I've finally managed to work them out. So.
Many hours later.
It's all got to be cleaned up like this, so I can then acetone it afterwards. That gets rid of these little bits and little marks. And then it can be painted with the stove paint. So, yeah, it takes a while. It's cold in here. It won't be when this thing's working.